Junk Food Dinner 326. Turn on, tune in, and drop out this week, junkies. It's 60s week. First, a doctor is sent a mysterious mask that causes him to become obsessed in the mask. Next, a group of mental patients go on a California killing spree in the Thrill Killers. Finally, a country band is forced to sleep in a ghostly mansion in Hillbillys in a haunted house.
Dennis is caught in the world of reality. He must make those monthly payments.
Welcome back to the Junk Food Diner. The final movie for this 60s show is Hillbillys in a Haunted House. It is from the year 1967. It's directed by Jean Yarbrough. You may remember Jean Yarbrough from directing movies like She-Wolf of London, King of the Zombies, The Devil Bat, The Brute Man, and a bunch of old-timey Abbott and Costello stuff. He's an old-timer, this guy. This is a movie about country singers, the titular hillbillies, who, on their way to Nashville, have car trouble in a tiny small town, forcing them to talk to the complete opposite of the harbinger from Cabin in the Woods. Just the nicest old man who welcomes them into a haunted house. Although he forgets to tell them it's haunted. These people who have very relaxed views on squatting and trespassing go to this abandoned mansion outside of town and decide to sleep there during the storm until they can fix their car. They discover that it's haunted because a few local youths happen to just be walking by the house. They hear the titular hillbillies playing music, so they walk in and they go, hey, hillbillies, we heard you playing music. We thought we'd come in. Even though this house is haunted, but we knew that the ghosts don't normally play guitar, so we figured you were all right. They play a bunch of country songs, and then a real ghost shows up. Or I guess just a ghost shows up. A skeleton starts dancing on the wall. The youths leave, and the three titular hillbillies are left to discover the secrets of the house. Spoiler alert. It's not actually ghosts. It's like communist spies living in the basement. Played by people like John Carradine and Lon Chaney Jr., Linda Ho, Basil Rathbone, a.k.a. the fakest Vincent Price. And so then they get into all kinds of crazy stuff. These spies living in the basement are trying to get like some secret fuel from a nearby manufacturing plant. And they think that the hillbillies are like other spies, and it's like a whole thing. There's an ape for some reason. This is I think the only Junk Food Dinner movie we've done so far that fits into that very great genre of movies, a very small genre of movies, where there are just apes in a haunted house for some reason. A lot of something weird movies have that plot. And I love them all. The hillbillies are played by Ferlin Husky. We all know Ferlin Husky.
Yeah.
Country music star. And Joi Lansing, who, she's like the whole reason I found out about this movie. I love her. She was in Queen of Outer Space. She was in Touch of Evil for about 3 seconds. Some other movie we did, I think. Bigfoot. That great Bigfoot movie. This movie is really weird. It's kind of like a really long episode of like Hee Haw or something. There's like really dumb jokes. A dude finds like a really old hat covered in spider webs and just puts it on. I respect that. Also, one of the guys refers to a werewolf as a weird wolf. And I think that's funny.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
weird
dude.
wolf.
Well, you see?
That was Jeepers.
Yeah, he doesn't know what words mean.
Yeah. So I like that guy. This movie's really weird. I imagine that there's a lot of people on Earth who would hate this movie. In fact, I've seen it listed on like worst movies of all time lists. Like the last 20 minutes of it are just like country singers singing songs at a concert.
A lot of minutes before that too.
A lot. Yeah. A lot of times they'll just, they'll be like, oh, a ghost. And then like they'll just start singing songs and stuff. At one point, Joi Lansing sings a cool song about gowns and how much she likes them.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is like really goofy. It's got like some real grandpa jokes that I thought were fun. And I don't know. I've just like never really seen anything like this before where it's like, just like, it's like a dumb haunted house thing. That's sort of like one of those something weird movies, Kiss Me Quick or, House on Bear Mountain, except for like no boobs and like definitely made for like a very PG Christian country Western music loving audience. Yeah. And then, so I don't know. I think this is a pretty unique movie, at least to me. I've never seen anything too like this outside of, like I said, Hee Haw or anything. But so I thought it was really fun, like genuinely fun. What do you guys think about hillbillies in a haunted house?
Yeah, I had seen this before, believe it or not. I had a VHS copy of this that I had picked up at a Goodwill, and had subsequently sold because I figured one time was enough watching this, but came back around again for junk food dinner. So, watching this again for the show, I was struck the same way I was struck the first time watching it, which is like, what the hell is this? The movie starts off with these three singing in their car, and you're like, okay, this is a musical, I suppose, which is weird. And then, they just shoehorn in these musical numbers any fucking way that they can. They'll just start singing a song. People just show up out of nowhere for a minute to sing a song. There's a scene where one of the guys just watches TV and an excuse for them to just shoehorn in some musical performances by Merle Haggard. I actually kind of enjoy this era of country music, this 60s country music era. I think I can get down on these grooves. I like old school Merle Haggard. I like some of these old school artists. Some of the songs are better than others. Like you said, it's very much a like family friendly affair. So a lot of these songs are, and not that like country music ever got like real, dirty or anything, but they all seem to be kind of, they sing like the Cat Came Back song and stuff. It's a very family friendly affair. What's not family friendly is Joi Lansing, who is one hot tamale in this. Looking good, looking hot for the 60s time period. Although I will say I did find out this week for the show that this is a sequel to the Las Vegas Hillbillys, which I guess is kind of a similar kind of plot where they just shoehorn in a bunch of country music acts along with some kind of goofy plot. But I do want to see that because it does not have Joi Lansing, but it does in her place have Jane Mansfield and Mamie Van Doren, two staples of 60s hot mamas. So I might be willing to check that out just for the addition of those two as well. But yeah, like you said, this has got a lot of weird cameos for no apparent reason. It's got a lot of old school horror guys like your Lon Chaney, the Wolfman himself, John Carradine, who, like we've talked about many times on the show, seems like he will just pop up in any movie regardless of how enthusiastic or old he is. He'll be in anything, it seems like. And then you've got your Basil Rathbone, and so they really did get a veritable who's who of past their prime horror stars to appear in this. In addition, like you said, you got Linda Ho playing this Madame Wong, who I was trying to decipher how racist the portrayal was. Surprisingly, for a 1962 or 1967 hillbilly movie, I think they handled it a lot better than they could have.
They got an actual Asian person, so that was nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it did kind of hinge on kind of weird. It was never made explicitly clear what exactly the intent of these communist spies were doing in this basement with this fucking gorilla and these weird medieval torture traps and this haunted house. Like, it's all very ramshackle. This whole movie is, let's be real, stupid as fuck. But that being said, there were some enjoyable things to it. I mean, this is one that I feel like would come on maybe like early afternoon on a Sunday and you'd catch a little bit of it. I think as Sean alluded to at the beginning of the show, it does have a very Scooby-Doo-esque vibe to it with these just dipshits wandering around this fake haunted house and these evil, no good doers trying to kind of scare them out of being there and stuff. And, it's a mess of a film. It feels like it was just kind of made up on the fly. They just got this house. They got some old timey actors, and they're like, let's just try to kill some time in between some fucking musical numbers. And that's what they did. I mean, it feels very ramshackle and just like kind of made up on the fly. So there are times when, for a lot of this movie, where you're just like, what the fuck? You can get up and go get a sandwich and get a drink or something and come back, and you really haven't missed anything. But like I said, some of the musical numbers I liked. Merle Haggard stuff was good in this. He has a couple musical numbers. At the end, they could have just ended it. I don't know why they had to throw in 15 fucking minutes of additional performances, most of which by people that have already performed in the movie. It wasn't terrible, but it just feels like super tacked on and highly unnecessary. But
well, Joi Lansing got to wear that other outfit.
Yeah. That's true.
I think that's the most important takeaway of those last 20 minutes.
Right. So it's very stupid, very ramshackle, but, still surprisingly enjoyable. Kind of, we talked about the beach movies of the 60s back when we did the It's a Bikini World. And this felt like in the same vein. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is one that it's like very like family kid oriented, very goofy, very musical, very unrealistic and not set in any sort of reality world, and pretty bad for the most part, but I think there are some charming elements to it as a time capsule, but probably not one you need to watch more than once, if once at all.
Well, guys, I think we truly did it. Do you guys know what we did this week?
We found the best movie of all time.
We found something. We found the new fakest bat in JFD history, guys. You see that fucking fake bat in this movie? That was out of control. Great fake bat. The fakest of bats. Really impressive stuff. So I've never seen this movie before. This was probably not a movie that I would have ever encountered as a kid. Growing up in Massachusetts, I lived a relatively like hillbilly-free childhood. I didn't watch Dukes of Hazzard as a kid. Nobody in my life played country music whatsoever. I didn't really even see like any Burt Reynolds movies as a kid. Like we were damn Yankees, I guess. And we didn't really get into the Southern stuff too much at all. So hillbilly culture, moonshine, like all these things, they're foreign to me. And I'm like, I don't know what any of this is. Although I did live in Nashville for a few months in my early 20s. And at that point, I did kind of develop an appreciation for the hillbilly lifestyle, especially like you said, Kevin, this period of hillbillydom, I think is pretty cool, like 60s music, whether it's, Merle Haggard or Johnny Cash or that type of stuff, is pretty listenable and pretty good stuff. So in general, I was open to this, but really didn't know what to expect. And you hear a title like Hillbillies in a Haunted House and it's going to be a goofy movie, but then you put this movie in and you watch that first scene and man, I knew it was going to be goofy. I didn't know it was going to be this goofy. Like it's fucking ridiculous. That first scene, like, them driving down the road and it's, very obvious rear projection in the car, which I know is a Parker Bowman favorite. And they're just like singing like at the top of their lungs and it's all goofy and like the lip sync doesn't match. Like they put tons of reverb on the vocal track. So like it's just echoing like all day long. And you're like, this looks like really bad lip syncing. but it's amazing. Like, I fucking laughed out loud immediately and almost didn't stop laughing throughout this entire movie.
Yeah, and then they drive right into this fucking police shootout.
Yeah,
with nowhere.
Spies, with like these spies, quote unquote, and they're cool with it. They're just like, oh, all right, cool, yeah. There's bullets streaming over our heads, I guess. Yeah, all right. But they're like so casual. I'm like, these hillbillies are amazing. Like they don't care about shit.
Mm-hmm. They're very relaxed people, also very used to guns. If you'll notice, there's a shot near the end of the movie where they have guns mounted on the back of their car.
Well, and that car is fucking cool too, because it's got this crazy like leather interior. Like everything is this weird, like it looks like African elk leather or something. Like it's some fancy ass leather. It's not a normal leather they got in that interior. Cool car.
Apparently, that car was one of the country stars that's in this movie. Had just made just got one of their first like royalty checks or something, and bought that fancy ass car and said, "Yeah, let's show it off in this movie."
Yeah, it looks real custom. So, I mean, just for that, I mean, it's almost worth price of admission alone. And what's even more worth it is fucking Jeepers, man. You got Jeepers in that first scene, sitting in the back seat, looking drunk for real, reading his lines off screen. Like what a charmer, this guy. I love this Jeepers guy. So then it's, it's very silly stuff. It's, and you start getting into the haunted house plot line. And I was thinking, like, why is this not something that plays on television like every year? Like this feels like something that would play on TV like every Halloween, like in the way that you would watch like Rudolph every Christmas, where it's like a really goofy, slow moving, like family friendly, simple story with like a bunch of celebrity cameos and songs and stuff. Like this could have been a tradition. Like, I guess probably the one thing blocking that from happening is the fact that it's like a horrible movie. Yeah. But besides that, like this could and should. I mean, I would have watched. Yeah, I mean, I would have watched this every year on like Nick at Night or something. But
also, like the hero of the movie, like the guy who shows up to save the hero, like our friendly hillbillies from the bad guys, is like the ghost of a Confederate soldier, which is like maybe not so cool these days.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird. Yeah, I guess so. Times have changed. It's not as simple anymore.
Yeah, it was a different time, a simpler time.
Different time. It was also a different time in ladies' fashion. As you mentioned, Joi Lansing looking very foxy in this movie. I mean, in terms of like shapes of bras, 10 out of 10. That's like, if you want to shape a bra, just watch this movie. If you're getting into bra design, if that's your career path coming up, just pop in this movie. Also,
or just Google image search Joi Lansing.
Yeah. Also, this may be, I mean, I don't want to talk out of school here, but I think that this might be the first ever khaki panted long butt that we've cited on JFD. And it's a fucking long ass butt, but it's in khaki pants. I didn't think that was possible. It's very strange, very shocking. But to be honest, I mean, I didn't really know a whole lot about Joi Lansing. I know that she's popped up in a few movies that we've done here on the show. But is she like most known for Beverly Hillbillies? Is that like kind of where people would know her from? Because I didn't really watch that either.
I think so.
Yeah, she popped up a few places. Like, I don't know, she made music, I think, for a while. And she's kind of a jack of all trades, I feel.
That surprises me, because I will say that out of anybody, it seemed like her lip syncing abilities in this was like by far and away the worst. She really could not hit those lyrics.
Well, she likes to do it live. She's not used to the lip sync. She's a real artist.
I'll buy that. But you know what? As much as I like Joi Lansing in this, I got to say the real star is Mr. Bowman as Jeepers. This guy, what was his first name? He's a Bowman for sure.
Don Bowman, I believe.
Yeah, Don Bowman as Jeepers. I mean, not only the way that he says a weird wolf when he finds that werewolf in the closet, which will forever charm me. I've said that to no less than 6 people today. Pretty much anybody that I could find at work that wanted to talk about what I did this weekend. The only thing I wanted to tell them is that I watched a movie in which Jeepers found a weird wolf and nobody cared. But I loved it. I like this guy's style. Like he's like a human version of the droopy dog. Like he's got this always sleepy, never sleeping angle to his character that is like 100% my jam. It's kind of how I live my life. I mean, if you heard that recent pool party episode, you'll know that I'm a sleepy man. And so I appreciate another good sleepy man on film. I like the part when he's being confronted by Ms. Wong, the Chinese lady. She confronts him with a gun, and he's like, "Oh, nice, friendly Chinese lady," and then bows at her like an Asian bow movement, like over and over again.
A bow movement.
Not a bowel movement, but that was weird. And it looked like he's trying to tame like a cartoon lion or something. When he's like just bowing at her, it was like a very strange and, again, borderline racist sequence, but I liked it.
Corey's going to be so mad at that drop. Corey's going to hate that.
Corey can be mad at a lot of things. It's fine by me. This is again another like spooky house type of situation. We compared it to Scooby-Doo, and I just love these kind of spooky house type setups. I mean, when I was a kid, I would have went crazy for this for sure. Like, I was reading like all those children's novels by John Bellairs. I don't know if you ever read those books, like The House with a Clock on Its Walls. And as a kid, I was like really obsessed with like secret passageways and like haunted houses. And, to see a movie like this with a bunch of hillbillies and like the gorilla putting his ape arm out of, the painting and stuff like that, I would have went nuts for this. So I'm kind of sad that I didn't see this as a kid. I'm kind of sad that Nick at Night didn't play this on a yearly basis. Because this is, I think, pretty cool. It's one of those movies where you got John Carradine ordering somebody to stay away from a monkey, which is always like a great sign in a movie.
Yeah, they hate that Lon Chaney is friends with that monkey.
Oh yeah, they're pissed. And I mean, can you blame them? What's going on there? It seems a little strange, right? Like that's counter to your whole mission. Like, even though I don't know what your mission is, but. I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff in this. Like Merle Haggard is definitely strung out on the goofballs and just kind of like propping himself up with his guitar when you see that TV performance that he's doing. I love those.
I love those TV performances because it's like much more blatant than when like our characters break out into song. Like it's very blatantly just, hey, we're going to take time out to show a TV that has performers on it for like 3 songs in a row. But I also like that the TV signal is interrupted so that the people in the basement can stare at Jeepers for a while. Yeah. And I thought that was very fun.
Yeah, that whole part is just really hilarious because it's already far enough in the movie where you've had a few songs and you kind of know like all right, like this is their move. Like they're going to do a little bit of plot and then they're going to put a few songs to kind of pad this out. So you kind of know their game by that point. And then they play the one song and you're like, all right, fine. But then they cut into the second song. And at that point, like you're getting these shots of like Jeepers, like almost falling asleep. And it's like, yeah, this is boring. Thanks for reminding me that this is the most boring part of this movie by having your character fall asleep while he's watching the same thing that I'm watching this fucking guy named Jim Kent, who I've never even heard of, trying to play some country music. He doesn't even look like he's high on goofballs or nothing. It's super boring. I would say don't skip the end with the 15 minutes of songs at the end, because Jeepers gets his own solo song at that point. And that's the only point in this movie where you can see Jeepers solo stylings.
Everybody gets their own solo song at the end.
Yeah, well, Jeepers needed more of them, if you ask me.
Why did I would. Sorry for interrupting, but why did Jeepers even get a solo song? Like he says early on in the movie that he's not a musician. He's like their tour manager or something. Yeah.
Well, he's specifically the main guy's business manager. He makes the point, I think, twice in the movie to clarify that he doesn't represent Joi Lansing. He's like, I'm his business manager. Which, yeah, it's weird that he would get a song, but I'll take it, man. I'll take as much Jeepers as I can get, to be honest.
Well, we're going to do that part 1 where they're in Las Vegas soon, so.
Yeah, he's in that, and I think he's like in nothing else, right? Like it's just these 2 movies and no other movies.
Yeah, I think that the main dude, whatever his name is, Fern Willikers, I think he's in like one other movie.
I don't give a flying fuck about Fern Willikers.
Whoa. Really?
All right, can we make that real clear, Parker Bowman?
Nah, Fern Willikers was good, though.
He's no Jeepers.
Well, yeah, Jeepers is pretty good. Ferlin Husky, My mistake.
Yeah, so this was literally exactly what I needed in my life. I don't know. It could have just been timing. It could have just been like I had a real shitty week where my computer died and my boss quit at work and like a whole bunch of shitty things happened. And then I put in this movie that, it's a shitty movie, but it was exactly the right kind of shitty. It is what it is. It's basically adults acting like the kids in Scooby-Doo, which would always be silly, but I think feels extra silly when you put it into a hillbilly context. So yeah, if you like things like Abbott and Costello meeting monsters, or you like Scooby-Doo, and you're up for something that's definitely outdated and low budget and padded, I think is very safe to say.
Yeah.
Check it out, because it does have like a very unique kind of weird energy to it, and it has jeepers, and sometimes that's all you need.
That's true. Also, I do want to say my favorite part of this movie is when, like, a cop comes and he catches Jeepers and Fern Willikers, and he's like, "What are you guys doing here?" And he's like, got a gun on them. And they're like, "Oh, we're entertainers." And he's like, "Prove it." And they're like, "Well, we got this guitar over here." And he's like, "Prove it. Play the guitar, and then I'll know that you're entertainers." Like, as if being an entertainer, like, is like a get out of jail free card or something.
That kind of is.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah, hey, Woody Allen can rape children, and the worst that happens is people shout at his trailers.
Yeah, that is true. Well, I guess maybe the worst that happens is that Amazon.com puts out his new movie. But yeah, so then they play, like, the guitar, and then, like, another song, and then the cop's like, "All right, your story checks out."
Right.
I think that's great. But that wraps it up for Hillbillies in a Haunted House. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to be a gorilla in a cage.
Thanks for visiting the JFD video store. We hope you enjoyed our burning hot takes on this week's selected movie. Check us out on iTunes or junkfooddinner.com for full episodes. The audio version contains 3 full-length reviews per week, topical news segments, and listener feedback. Great for long commutes, exercise, or surviving the impending apocalypse. Thanks to Chuck Linington for the on-screen artwork. Email jfdpodcast@gmail.com or check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, or whatever else is going on. We're probably there and wanna hear from you. Until next time, keep washing them dishes.
Good job, Cincinnati. You're stupid.